Today on the Tiger Basketball Report, we'll review the Tigers games against Drexel and William & Mary. Get ready, fans. The Tiger Basketball Report starts now. Hello again, and welcome to the Tiger Basketball Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. Towson split one on the road and one at home this past week, losing both to Drexel and William & Mary. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Diane Richardson. Coach, first of all, tough week, but on the bright side, Nakaya Mayo, who had been struggling leading into this weekend, has a really nice bounce-back game against Drexel, 20 points, 9 rebounds. It had to have been good to see her getting back into the rhythm.
Yeah, and, we were waiting for that. We know she's capable of that, and I think that's a confidence booster for her to know that she can do that consistently.
And leading into that Drexel game, we talked about the mental toughness required to play Drexel because they're not necessarily the most athletically gifted team, but they run their system. And, the amount of, backdoor cuts and screens and everything. How do you feel like your team did with that mental toughness and kind of keeping the stamina up during those long possessions for Drexel?
Yeah, well, the thing is, we going in, we knew we would be playing defense 27, 28 seconds per possession. And I think we did that. The problem was they got offensive rebounds, and then we went into another 30 seconds. So, it was a test for our team and a test for our players to understand that some teams will do that. And so we didn't come out on the winning end, but it kind of gave them some exposure to what happens when the defense controls the game.
It was a slow start for you offensively as well. 10 points, and you mentioned the offensive rebounds, and Drexel capitalized. It was 27-10 after the first quarter. Yeah. What was the message after that first quarter? Because the rest of the way through, it was pretty close, and in the fourth quarter, you guys were even with them.
Yeah, just to be aware that we've got to have extra effort in getting those rebounds so that they don't get second chance points and second chance shot clock. So after that, they kind of stepped up a little bit and knew, because they had gone through that first quarter like, oh my gosh, we've been playing defense, most of the time. So they kind of stepped up and realized, we've got to get some rebounds.
Is it one of those situations where you closed like a freight train in that game? That you were coming, but was it just they were tired, they ran out of energy trying to get the comeback started? It was a big push at the end, but they just didn't have enough to really close that gap finally.
Yeah, and that's what we've been trying to work on, is not getting down so much in the first quarter that we have to fight. And that was my message to them in the locker room after the game, is that, we got down deep, so deep in the beginning that it was hard to bounce back. And even though we evened it out in the last 3 quarters, it just wasn't enough to overcome.
And then fast forward to the William & Mary game, another nice night for Mayo, 19-12, Rain and Italia, each in double digits as well. Offensively, it was a better performance overall. You get the 3 in double digits. Talk about Italia Vogt. She had a nice bounce-back game, 11 points, but we talked afterwards. It's nice when she scores, but would you want to have seen a little more facilitating from her in that game?
Yeah, and, we've worked on people being scorers this year, but they've got to get the ball. And, as quick as she is and as fast as she is, I think she can get the ball to them a lot faster and a lot easier than most point guards. So we're trying to get her to have some balance with that.
Offensively and defensively, defensively for you, William & Mary blew up their scoring averages. Bianca Boggs scores in the 20, Jenna Green scores 22. Yeah. Offensively, the effort was there. How did you feel about your defensive effort in that game?
I think that was the letdown. And, in the first game with William & Mary, we were able to control Jenna Green and, stop her from scoring. And this time, we went away from that, and we didn't put pressure on her like we did in the first game. And while we stopped Rendell, we still let Green, just have an excellent game, and Bianca Boggs as well.
I was going to say Abby Rendell was an afterthought in this game. She didn't play a lot of minutes, and the time she was on the court, I think she only had 2 or 4 points in this ball game, a couple of rebounds. Mary, she didn't show up in the stat line so much rebounding-wise and scoring, but she did a great job, and as did Maya Lee when she was in Deja, and even I think Durgeon flew in on a double team and caused a turnover on Rendell. How did you feel the effort was for the low post in that game?
I think our post did really well, and like you said, every one of them that got on the floor had very good productive minutes, and Mary started out a little slow in the first half, but she came on in the second half and got some rebounds and got in position. So we were pleased with our, defense, except for the defensive assignments on Green and Boggs.
All right. That'll do it for us today on the Tiger Basketball Report. Join us next time when we preview the Tigers' first match against the Pride of Hofstra. For head coach Diane Richardson, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.